Welcome back everybody to another game review. Today we are talking about Legendary Tales. What is this game? This game is an RPG type dungeon clearer. So what do I mean by that? You make your character, you set up your stats, you select the mission, you dive on in to try and clear the whole dungeon. And then you pick up your loot along the way and you get buff as you go along. Depending on what weapon type you use, your stat will increase. So like if you're using a two-handed hammer, your strength stat's going to increase. If you're using a bow, your dex stat is going to increase. If you're getting slapped a lot, Vit is going to increase. Magic, intelligence is going to increase, and stuff like that. This game relies heavily on the swordplay, with magic really being a fun, like kind of last resort type of thing, Magic is very powerful, but it's also very costly because you can't really find mana all that well in this game. So that's something to watch out for. Let's say if you're in a party and it's like, oh, I want to be a mage, well, the mage is gonna have to freaking watch his mana the whole time, and so then he can only do like maybe 30 seconds of damage the entire time. But that's perfectly fine. This game isn't really about the magic, it's about all the swordplay. And swordplay is nice. It is kind of wonky and everything when you're trying to block attacks, but other than that, it is pretty fun. I'd say it is kind of fun, kind of nice to do. You do feel like a goddamn boss when you get in those parries and whatnot. So that's always cool. Little feature to add. There's a lot of stuff to do in the game. Like I said, you get in, you make your character dungeon. The dungeon's pretty big, decent size, in an hour, you're not going to be able to clear a dungeon by yourself. So if you're going to be a solo player, that's something to watch out for. It is time consuming. You're not going to be able to, oh, I'm just going to get this game, go ahead, have an hour of fun, beat it. It's going to take some time in order to actually, get into the feel of this thing. Combat is nice, you can hit with the bottom of the blade, you can hit with the tip. They have 3 types of damage: blunt damage, slash damage, pierce damage. So stab for the pierce damage, slash for the slash damage, and just beat them up with your fists for the blunt damage. Combat mechanics, they're interesting. There's nothing too out of the world, except sometimes you're gonna be getting skeletons who are goddamn ninjas, because they have just way more mobility than you. And you're not going to be able to dodge an attack just by, stepping back a couple steps. No, they will hit you every time, whereas, because they are freaking goddamn ninjas. Other than that, dungeon seems pretty simple. You get gear as you kill enemies, or, you find gear in little jars and everything like that. Nothing too intense about it. You find helmets, you find armor, as you go along. The rarity scales, there's white for common, blue, yellow, and stuff like that. You break the crystals in order to see what's inside them. It's like, boom, okay, you get whatever weapon and or piece of armor that is. You do find health and mana while you're playing as well, but those are more rare to see. And the drops are they're little shiny orbs. If you ever get confused by the game, you can always just go through the tutorial. It has you go through the tutorial before you actually start playing the game. The tutorial in this game is pretty lengthy. I'd say around 20 to 30 minute tutorial to get through it, which is, fine, because there's a lot of mechanics in this game to watch out for. One of the things that I do not like about this game is definitely the throw mechanics and the grapple mechanics. So in a couple instances, you're gonna have to be able to grab onto ledges as you fall, and it's very particular in its timing. So let's say you don't necessarily have the best connection when you're streaming it over Airlink, or however you're doing it, or you just miss it by a tad, it's gonna set you back a lot. Throw mechanics, I couldn't figure out. I think I threw one dagger straight the whole time, so other than that, perfectly good game. It's priced well for this type of game. There's Might not look pretty, but there is a lot of stuff that you can do in it. So that's really what makes the price worth it. It's definitely going to be a game where you can just get your friends in, because doing it solo, you can get overwhelmed pretty easily, especially early on in the levels with 1v5ing and stuff like that, and that's just more difficult, especially with that unblockable top attack that just doesn't seem... But other than that, solid game, solid performance. And yeah, that's it for me. So from me, like, subscribe, and have a good day.